Obviously, a great support is monetary. So if anyone is able to make donations to organizations that they believe in, even $5 a month or whenever you can give it goes a long way.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to What Happens Next. We're very excited to introduce Series 3 to you. We've had two very successful, popular installments already, and we're looking forward to bring you even more content from people all over the world, especially in light of all things that are going on right now. So today we have with us Lamar Brown. He works with the Chicago Dance Makers Forum as well as the Ruth Page Center, is an accomplished dancer in his own right. And we're very excited to hear about his experience and his experience as well as his insight into the dance scene of Chicago. So Lamar, how are you doing?
I'm great. How are you today, Colin?
Doing okay. It's been a little hectic lately, but still just trying to stay sane with all that's going on.
I understand that. Same here. And thanks
Yeah.
to you and Shreya for having me on today.
Great. No, we appreciate it. We appreciate making the time because between working with both the Dance Makers Forum as well as Ruth Page, you're probably pretty busy.
Yeah, that is quite true.
Yeah, I'm glad. Though it's glad to hear that you're still able to be busy during this time, given that a lot of the arts have
I
been shut down in
Yeah,
some
I
way or
agree.
another.
I feel very fortunate to be able to continue working right now. There are many people who, especially in the arts community, have not had that opportunity to continue to be employed, and it's sad, but I believe that the arts community can make it through.
Okay. So, as both a performer and a trained arts manager, could you tell us a bit about your craft and how your experiences have informed your approach to arts management?
Yeah, definitely. I started as an artist, and I'm actually a classically trained vocalist as well.
Oh,
So I studied voice from basically elementary, middle school, all the way up through my undergraduate degree in classical voice.
mhm.
And as a dancer, I decided more to pursue performance career as a dancer, but of course I've done musicals as well. So that has helped with that classical voice training. Um, but being on the side of making art as an artist and then transitioning into a larger focus on administration has helped me get a better, well-rounded view of all aspects of art making and producing.
Great. So then, again, working with Chicago Dance Makers Forum, Ruth Page Center, how have the organizations you work for responded to the pandemic, and how do you feel it's going to change the art scene going forward?
Well, I have seen both organizations take an approach to um, really trying to tap into the communities in which they serve,
Mhm.
right? I think that many organizations have been concentrated on expansion for a very long time, which means that they have left behind some of their home base. I don't necessarily think that's the case with CDF and with, Chicago Dance Makers Forum and with
Mhm.
Ruth Page Center for the Arts. However, I have noticed that we have concentrated our efforts on really reconnecting or staying connected to the community and the people that we already serve. So making sure we're reaching out and letting them know that we're still providing services for them, that we want to enhance the way that we serve them. So asking them what they need from, their daily lives and not just, specifically what we offer as a service. Because sometimes the things that they need, if we think creatively about it, there might be ways that programmatically we could step in to help assist with those needs.
Yeah. So could you actually elaborate a little bit for us? What is the Chicago Dance Makers Forum, and what are, and as well as the Ruth Page Center? Would you describe a
Oh
little bit about
yeah,
what their activities?
definitely. So the Chicago Dance Makers Forum is approximately an 18-year organization. It is a service organization in which we grant funds to art makers, specifically choreographers. But we do have other projects which encompass other aspects of producing dance. So sometimes we will hire music makers, DJs, um, performance artists, things like that.
Hmm.
Our core program is to grant funds to choreographers and conduct a what we call a lab year for them to research and create work, and also provide them with services and connections to the greater community of dance making.
Hmm.
The Ruth Page Center for the Arts is a predominantly a school for dance, but it's also a venue and office space for other arts making organizations. So we do have a theater, and theatrical and dance and public art performances are conducted in the theater for a free or ticketed base, whatever those organizations decide they want to do with the space. For CDF, I'm the administrative coordinator, so I handle um, mostly logistics and operational uh, management. And
Hmm.
then for Ruth Page Center for the Arts, I'm the project coordinator. It's a newer position, but I've been coming in on a consulting basis to help different departments um, think about how they are approaching activities that they're doing.
No, very impressive. And given obviously, since you're providing grants, you're providing a physical space, and so a lot of that is rooted very much in pre-COVID programming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you think that even after the pandemic has calmed down a bit, do you foresee maybe this impacting some of the criteria that maybe they assess choreographers, or maybe they add a new category
Mm-hmm.
of for online content versus like theatrical, or and likewise with Ruth Page when it comes to how they present their content?
Mm-hmm.
Do you foresee this
Mm-hmm.
having a more lasting impact?
I do. I know that right now at CDF, we are reviewing our application and grant process. Um, and through our specific our core programming. Right now, there is some thought going into what that program may look like for next year. It might not be focused solely on live performance art. There may be a aspect of specific creation for web-based content. So that's a new opportunity for choreographers that are exploring in that realm.
Mhm.
I also know that, because of what's happening with the world in regard to ethnicity and race, um, we at CDF are also looking at how we are um, communicating to communities of color and encouraging them to be applicants, and also making sure that we reduce the barriers that may be prevalent in uh, preventing people of color from applying. Sometimes those barriers are not ones that you can see or ones that you may consider. So we're looking at that.
Excellent.
Uh, yeah, at Ruth Page Center for the Arts, similarly, we have we spent this summer on our summer intensive, conducting that intensive at least 50%, if not more, online. So we reduced the number. Typically, a summer dance program is like, 60 to 100 plus kids, or youth, or young adults,
Hmm.
all in classrooms taking class from master teachers. So this year we reduced that to about 10, well, only 10 dancers per classroom,
Hmm.
but we also had each class available via video conference, so that anyone at home all over the world could participate in our summer intensive. And this particular program that we have, the master instructors are typically international master instructors. So we try to have them from different continents and countries. We fly them in and they teach. But this year we were able to have them teach from their own homes in Italy and in Spain and in Cuba. So that was a really, really fantastic aspect. And I'm pretty sure that we are going to maintain that to some extent. And even going into the remainder of the year with regular classwork for the student and the adult programming, I know that we are already planning for online learning. So we're really excited about leading the industry in these kind of thought processes and operational processes.
Excellent. So then what are some ways that people might be able to support these types of organizations, particularly these two, but are there any other organizations you want to highlight who, for their pandemic efforts? Feel free.
Sure. So, I mean, obviously a great support is monetary. So if anyone is able to make donations to organizations that they believe in, you know, even $5 a month or whenever you can give it goes a long way. I know that that sounds crazy, but it means a lot. As long as organizations have that monetary support, they can continue to figure out how to supplement that with other grants from the local and the federal level. The other ways of support would be engaging in the content that the organizations are releasing. I know that at CDF, we do a lot of information sessions. We do workshops for choreographers and things like that. So if it's something that a person is interested in, they should definitely take the time to engage in those programs. Because again, if the programs are running and there is a demand for it, it allows the organization to report that level of demand in their granting applications, which I think would then help them secure the grant in a higher capacity, again, on the local or the federal level.
Yeah. And
yeah,
I mean, well, no, especially with all the transitioning to online, it really opens the doors potentially to even who can access these programs. I know
exactly.
That there is a training organization that works predominantly like with adult literacy that I'm, and so that I've been able to attend a lot of their trainings. I've gotten to assist them with some things over the years, but because of this pandemic, they had to convert a lot of their stuff online. And so they were actually, this Chicago-based organization was able to get attendees from all around the state, but also as far as Texas. Like,
that's awesome.
Because partially this is, adult literacy is a cause that is often ignored or kind of not really thought about too much, even though the need is pretty widespread. But
yes, it is.
So therefore, you know, people in other states are like, oh, someone's actually doing something about this. Awesome. But the arts is not necessarily that different in some ways, because the way people think about it and the way it actually is, there sometimes is that disconnect and about what its value is and the way that it's run. So no, this is a really exciting opportunity. So
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, cool. And so thank you for pointing that out. But also something that you brought up that I hope we could talk a little bit more about. You brought up that with the kind of the reckoning and paying attention and actually trying to dig more into the conflicts of race, ethnicity, and all these intrinsic barriers and biases. So while this has come up before, there's a lot more public momentum now to actually try to do something to factor these real aspects into this decision process. And so with the arts world having to reckon like with concepts such as intersectionality, which for those watching who are not familiar, intersectionality is where you have different aspects of yourself that all combine together to shape your unique experience. So like whether it be your religion, your race, ethnicity, your gender, your sexuality, and so on, these all combine together to how people perceive and treat you. And it's not all like they only see you as one thing. And so like it's a whole package that shapes it. So as someone who has had to juggle different aspects of yourself while working both with arts management as a dancer, like moving different states, how would you say your identities have shaped your experience as both a performer and a manager?
Wow, that's a pretty loaded question.
Yeah, it's a pretty open-ended one.
It's okay. Well, the two obvious aspects of myself are that I'm male and that I'm also Black. Those are two visual things about myself that I cannot change. But I'm also a gay man. I can't change that either. But the other aspects, like you were saying, I am a dancer, I'm an art maker. There have been quite a few barriers when you put all of those things together, you know, even from the aspect of being a dancer who has gone into business and administration. A lot of times people who are artists are find themselves in situations where people say, oh, well, you make art, or that's not for profit, or, you know, oh, it's just a dance company, so you don't need to be that smart in order to run or operate those kinds of things. But even once I got into those organizations, a lot of times, because I am, you know, because I'm Black, and negative stereotypes associated with being a Black person also come into play. So here I am in an environment with other artists or art makers, and they're also looking down on me, saying that I'm also not intelligent or a hard worker. They're saying that I'm lazy or that I can't come up with strategy and things like that. So a lot of those experiences really pushed me at an early age, when I decided that I wanted to pursue starting my own dance company, to make sure that I knew what I was doing. I didn't want to be able to just talk the talk. I wanted to be able to walk it, you know? So I pursued researching business making or business operations and management. I also spent a lot of time getting educated. I got a bachelor's degree um, with a focus in marketing and management, along with dance performance and vocal performance. But I got a master's degree that's specifically in arts administration from, I just looked it up, and in the nation, Columbia College Chicago is ranked in the top 10 consistently for arts management programs. So the fact that I pursued arts management in such an in-depth way is definitely influenced by these aspects of myself. Typically, Black people are faced with the angry Black person stereotype. So that's also affected me in certain ways. I found that I often stifled my voice. I didn't often speak up when things were bad or negative. I, you know, trained myself to, as we say here in America, to turn the other cheek, because that's somehow supposed to be peaceful resistance. And eventually someone will understand that they have hurt you or disregarded you, and they'll think about changing their ways. I have come to realize that that is not the case. And I have been practicing speaking up more in a proactive way and not a reactionary way. So it's like I can either be the angry Black man that comes in like reactive and responding in a what's considered negative way to a negative impetus, or I can come in strong, firm, and ready to make sure that I'm acknowledged. And in some ways, people will see that as aggressive, which is also a part of that angry Black man stereotype. But it's one that I think is necessary in order to be heard. And with that said, at Ruth Page and Chicago Dance Makers Forum, I have not encountered those kind of negative aspects of working with people. I've found myself in a very positive place where my employers and my associates are willing to listen and hear what I have to say. So, yeah, those things. Oh, I didn't talk about the gay part, but, that's also another thing. When you're a gay man, people think that you're weak and you're soft. And especially because I was trying to combat this idea of being aggressive and angry or being this threat, people associated it with me being gay. And the equivalent of that is pushover, weak, soft, all of these terms that people associate with not being a strong man, or I guess strong is the wrong word, more of a person that can get results, right? Whatever that means, however you want to just define that. But I think that when you put all of those together, it can create a very conflicting and confusing environment. I know a lot of people think that the arts world is run by gay men, but it isn't. There are a lot of cisgendered, heterosexual white men running major artistic institutions.
Yeah, and for those that might not be familiar, cisgender just means that it just means like the stereotypical, like attracted to women, like confident in their male identity and everything. Like they're like, for those that are not familiar. But wow, thank you very much for informing. And if you don't mind me asking, have you noticed any difference as far as all those different aspects of yourself factoring in when you were a dancer primarily compared to an arts manager, or was it about the same either way? Just different names.
I think that's a good question. I think that predominantly as a performer, those areas did not affect me in a negative way. I think that especially for when I started performing, due to affirmative action, right? You had a lot of artistic organizations who were trying to show, and also because legally they had to, they were trying to get on this bandwagon of, colorblind casting and trying to show on stage and visually to the public, look, we are open to people of color, especially Black people. And so you end up with tokenism. But at the same time, it's like, oh, you're Black and you're male. Black men who dance are actually kind of rare, especially in musical theater, especially in traditional European art forms, which would be like ballet or opera or things like that. You're not going to find as many Black men pursuing those kinds of things. So it actually ended up being kind of a benefit. And me being gay was just, from the public view, as I was saying earlier, it's just assumed. So who cares if there's a gay Black man on stage performing? Like, that's what he's there for. That's what his body is made to do. But on the other side, the administrative side is where the issue comes. Even in some, like I said, the predominant artistic organizations are controlled and run by cisgendered white men. Even some of the larger Black institutions that people know of have largely have boards largely consisting of white people. So I have definitely found that when I made the transition into establishing myself as an arts manager, that I got a lot more pushback than if I was just trying to, use my body to make art for them. So it's this really, really sad dichotomy that, leads to tokenism, and it's very unfortunate. But we're making strides, and hopefully I can be an inspiration to other people of color who do want to manage and run things, because we're just as smart, we're just as capable, and we do create really great work.
Yep. Thank you for sharing. Well, yeah, you've talked a little bit about some of this in the past, so but to hear it all like brought out in this, particularly in this context, no, we really appreciate you being comfortable enough to share with us this.
Definitely.
Yeah, so
thank you for giving me the opportunity to.
Yeah, we're very much happy to spotlight this and bring attention, because as you said, it's especially when you're performing and there's all the stereotypes of like, oh, then naturally you must do this particular art form, or you have to do this style, or the fact that like say hip hop and country could cross over and have like these types of genre blends of these all these presumed already these presumed stereotypical genres, behaviors, and everything. But in fact, you're right. It seems like we've been able to make a little and now that people are actually having to pay attention to the real world implications of this. It's not just no. There are people who are shut out of organizations because of this kind of thing.
Yes, you're right.
So,
but I'm a little fearful that it is that it's superficial right now with some organizations. I think that some organizations are just trying to, again, I've used this word optics before, but I think that some organizations are just kind of biding their time. They're saying, hey, look at the 5 times that we hired a person of color, or look at these, programs that we do that help the poor Black communities who, don't have a lot. But don't look too deep internally in our organization. Don't look at, the constitution of our top level administrators or of our board. And I think that they're hoping that things will die down. And once things die down, it goes back to, standard operations. We go right back to the same things we've been doing before. But I am hopeful that there are some organizations where this will stick, and that they are very interested in creating change and will step up, review policy, and not just make policy, but actually act on it. That these people will search within themselves, because it's about doing the work, and everybody's experience is different. But if people don't work on themselves internally and individually, they're never going to manage and operate their organizations differently. So that's where I am. I'm hopeful, but I'm also a little skeptical.
Yeah, especially when corporations are concerned. It's those tend to feel fairly disingenuous when they start incorporating into their advertising, and it's like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, they tried doing that. What was it? Pepsi tried doing it with like Caitlyn Jenner or something. Like, what was it?
I believe it was Kylie Jenner. With the Black Lives Matter.
I'll be perfectly honest. The fact that I actually forgot that there were 2 of them. I clearly have my fingers on the pulse of popular culture, but
it's okay. That was like 3 years ago. It's fine.
Was it only 3 years?
I think that was 2017.
Oh my God! Okay, these have been very weird, stressful times indeed. But okay then. So we don't want to take up too much more of your time, especially for you to share this afternoon with us. So then, what is one piece of advice that you would give artists and arts managers that you think they should be doing, whether it's to better themselves or better their organizations during this time of COVID?
Yeah, during this time of COVID, I think that it is a time um, to breathe and reset. I really do. I've found that this time has been really helpful for me in being able to dive back into things that I enjoy about life. Um, and a lot of times when you reconnect to things that you enjoy doing, or at least in my case, I find that I have more room mentally and emotionally to create and to also get work done because I'm enjoying myself rather than the daily grind of meeting deadlines and being stressed out and 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 not taking care of myself. So I really encourage people to do that, to find time for self-care and for self and life enjoyment. Another thing that I would recommend is, we all have so much time on our hands. So this could also be potentially um, another time to conduct more research. Dig deeper into those aspects of your art or your skills that you have been putting off, that you've been saying that you want to pursue or learn more about, but I don't have time to do that. So this is a good time to do that. Pick up a book, do some research, get online, maybe even try to connect with people that are in your industry that you have never thought that you could have access to, because they're busy. This might be the perfect time to send an email or to try to schedule a video call. You just never know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, very sound advice, and thank you very much.
All right. You're so welcome. Thank you for having me again. It's been a pleasure.
Hi, my name is Shreya Nagarajan Singh, and thank you so much for listening to our episode of What Happens Next, a series we've been doing for the last few months. Today you heard Colin Herzog, our colleague from Chicago, was in conversation with Lamar Brown, who's another very good friend of the company's for many years now. Two of the organizations they highlighted was the Chicago Dance Makers Forum and the Ruth Page Center for the Arts. Two organizations, again, based out of Chicago, who are doing some very good work in supporting the artists now during this COVID pandemic. One of the reasons we started this whole initiative was to help spotlight organizations, not only in India, but different parts of the world, who are doing very important work to help artists, like I said. So if you'd like to support them, feel free to go to their websites. We'll also be tagging them on the posts. If you'd like other ways to support them, please do follow them on social media, like their posts, comment on their posts, share their posts, so other people in your networks will probably get to see the fantastic work that they're doing. Thank you so very much for listening to us, and looking forward to seeing you next week.